Week one of the NFL season is always week one of the NFL season. After all the buildup and all the wait, all the prognostication, then the games start and you maybe figure things out. Or maybe you don't. Because again, it's 1 week. And I always know every year going into week one that my picks are going to suck all types of booty hole. They just do. This year most certainly wasn't any different. What in week one did worse than my week one picks? Matthew Stafford? Yes. Nathan Peterman? Yes. Saints defense? Yes. And that's about it. Maybe Big Ben? Yes. 5-11 picking winners, 7-9 against the spread. Oopsie daisies. It's week one, and frankly, there's nowhere to go but up. Well, some of you smartasses might say I could pick even worse in week two. I can't say I feel particularly confident. Well, let's go ahead. I mean, I already got Thursday night wrong. Oh, I feel like the Ravens are going to go into Cincinnati, and they get revenge from last year's week 17, and I'm not believing in the Bengals, and then the Bengals go out and win 34-23. God damn it, come on now. This is Bush. And my picks in week one were Bush. We'll see if there'll be any better week two. All right, let's get going. The Sunday early games. You got the Carolina Panthers traveling to Atlanta to take on the Falcons as 5.5-point underdogs. The Atlanta Falcons will not have Devontae Freeman. They will not have Deion Jones. They will not have Keanu Neal. Atlanta was this close to beating the Eagles in week one, but ultimately didn't get the job done. A team that I was very hyped up about now has several notable players out, and in the case of Jones and Neal, for extended periods of times this year. And Keanu Neal, if I remember correctly, will be out the entire season. And you got Carolina coming off of a decent defensive performance against a Cowboys offense that looks like it could struggle to throw the ball all year. In an upset, give me the Carolina Panthers to win and plus the 5.5. The Chargers travel to Buffalo to take on the Josh Allens, the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, even though the Chargers didn't look great in week one, and even though this is a road trip to the East Coast, and even if they don't have Bosa, you'd have to figure the Chargers are smarting a little bit. They'll respond. It's Josh Allen's first start. Give me the Chargers minus the 8. Minnesota and Kirk Cousins are going to go to Green Bay and ask Aaron Rodgers, you fight that! You fight that! And they're half-point underdogs to the Packers at the time of this recording. I'm surprised they're a half-point underdog, especially since Green Bay looked so bad in the first half and had to make that big comeback in the second half to beat Chicago, whereas the Vikings look pretty good against a slightly overmatched 49ers team. Give me Minnesota to win plus the half. Houston and Deshaun Watson travel to Tennessee to take on Marcus Mariota and the Tennessee Titans. Give me the Texans minus the 1 here, especially when you're talking about both Lewan and Conklin are out of action. Mariota's banged up. When you're talking about the possibility as a head coach and Mike Vrabel of having to play both quarterbacks and your other quarterback is Blaine Gabbert, give me the Houston Texans minus the 1. The Browns, coming off of not losing in week one and not winning either. Yeah, it's such a Browns thing to do. Still the skid marks, damn it. Travel to New Orleans to take on a Saints team that's going to be smarting off of that week one loss to Tampa Bay. They got caught up in Fitz magic. I think the Saints will respond here. Give me the Saints minus the 10. The Dolphins travel as 2.5-point underdogs to the Jets to take on Sam Darnold and his gangrene crew. You know, it was a good win for the Dolphins at week number 1, especially considering all the delays with lightning and so forth. But you look at the Jets, road victory, massive, impressive road victory, week 1. I like the Jets here. Give me the Jets minus 2.5. You got Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, and the rest of the Tomahawk crew traveling to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers, still smarting off of that tie against the Browns in week 1. Big Ben, of course, as I talked about on Twitter last Sunday night, couldn't wait for, since all the narrative was going to be about Aaron Rodgers, to hear about Big Ben having some type of injury. Oh, he bruised an elbow, blah, blah, blah. It's always an excuse, and there's always a reason to try to make Big Ben look tough. That's his narrative. That's his career. This is what it is. I think the Steelers will respond because they view the Chiefs as a better team in week 2. Give me the Steelers to win minus the 4.5. The Eagles travel to Tampa Bay as only 3-point favorites against the Buccaneers. And look, who knows what the hell you're going to get out of Fitzmagic, or if you're going to get Fitzpatrick. The Eagles were not great in week 1, but they did enough to win. They're going to be playing Nick Foles again at quarterback. Still, though, only 3 points. Yeah, give me Philly minus the 3. The Colts travel to Washington to take on the Redskins. I like the Redskins in this matchup to win, but I like the Colts to cover. So give me Washington to win, but give me the Colts plus the 5.5. You go to the Sunday late games. You've got the Cardinals traveling as 14-point underdogs to the Rams. The Rams had what turned out to be a really nice, comfortable victory in the second half against John Gruden and the Oakland Raiders. If the Cardinals are insisting, I haven't paid attention, I'm assuming Suck Bradford is still starting. Yeah, even if it was Rosen, doesn't matter. Give me the Rams minus the 14. The Lions, smarting off of that week 1 thrashing they received at the hands of the Jets, travel to San Francisco to take on Jimmy G and the rest of the Levi's Pants crew. I like the 49ers to win this game, but I like Detroit to cover, so give me San Francisco, but Detroit plus the 7. You got the Raiders traveling to Denver as 7-point underdogs. The Raiders looked kind of old and beat up and tired in the second half of that game against the Rams. They were pretty game for a half, and then reality started to set in the second half, whereas the Broncos overcame a few Case Keenum interceptions last Sunday to beat the Seahawks. 7 points is quite a big spread. I think the Broncos will win, but give me the Oakland Raiders to cover plus the 7. Then your featured Sunday late afternoon game has to be the rematch of the AFC Championship game. You got the Patriots traveling into Jacksonville as half-point favorites. You got Jacksonville with that really, really good defense. Questions about whether or not Fournette is going to play. He's officially questionable right now. I would imagine he would be trying to suit up, if at all possible. The Patriots are the Patriots. But these are the type of matchups that early on in the season, they can get caught off guard a little bit. Meanwhile, the Jaguars are going to be so amped up about this. They're probably going to be screaming out of the tile, Miles Jack wasn't down! Miles Jack wasn't down! And while it is hard to show a lot of faith in a team ultimately led by Blake Bortles at the quarterback position, you got to feel like the Jaguars are going to be incredibly pumped and incredibly up for this game. Give me the Jaguars to win plus the 0.5 point. The Sunday night matchup. The Giants at 0-1 with Eli, Saquon, and Odell. Oh my! Travel to Dallas to take on Dak, Zeke, and the rest of the Cowboy crew. I don't really know how to feel about this game because I'm not that huge on the Giants, even with the addition of a healthy Odell Beckham Jr. and the addition of a Saquon Barkley via the draft, because that offensive line still stinks and Eli Manning's not that accurate. Whereas you look at the Cowboys and that offensive line doesn't look to be quite the same. You still have Zeke, so you'll be able to get some yards on the ground. But who's going to catch the ball? And how good is Dak going to be? I look at this game, and in this case, it's 2.5-point spread. I'm not trying to get too cute. It's just a matter of who I think will win. I'll take the Cowboys minus the 2.5. And then Monday night, we got Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks traveling to Soldier Field, the UFO and the Roman Coliseum, to take on Khalil Mack, Mitchell Zoolander, and the Chicago Bears. The Bears in the first half last Sunday night looked like a playoff team. In the second half, they looked like a mess. They played scared, they played conservative. Once the gimmicks went away in half one, and they had to have more of a real functioning game plan, it just didn't work. I look at this game, and the Seahawks lost to the Broncos, who I don't think are particularly good. The Seahawks don't look particularly good. Unless Brandon Marshall wants to go rage and have a revenge game here. I think the Bears will find a way to win this. Give me the Bears minus the 3. So those are my picks. God, they've got to be better than week 1. They've got to. Because if not, I'm going to be burning shit and trying to get rid of the bad vibes and get the whammies off of myself. As always, you're welcome to pick against me in the comments. If you didn't week 1, you probably kicked my ass. Oh well. 1 week does not a season make. This is my mulligan. Come on, week 2. Do better.